Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So this is a non-review. It's not a review, it's a non-review because I didn't listen to it in its entirety, and I didn't pay for it, right? That's the other big thing. Somebody sent me a copy. I received a copy of this, and I said to myself, I'm going to listen to it, and if I like it, I'm going to buy a legitimate copy, right? And I recommend you all do that. Listen, Big Finish just do not make enough money on their releases to cover their production, is my guess. I really think they are behind the gun a lot of time. And, it gets even harder when there's all this pirating going on. So I would say, please don't pirate. It was just, I thought I had an obligation to at least check it out, and I just didn't want to put the $20 down to check it out, and I'm kind of glad now. Not that it was awful, right? Not that it was awful, but this is a non-review. I want to be very, very clear. If you want to get into it, like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things are very good. I'm very grateful for everybody doing those things. Thank you very much. Sign up my Substack, my email newsletter, sign up my paid Substack, my paid email newsletter. Follow me on Instagram. I'm on the Instagram now. I might put this video on Instagram as a post. I don't know. Who knows or dares to dream? Right, like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things are fantastic. Let's have a look at this release. Sullivan and Cross. Now, I believe these characters were introduced, and it was the end and the middle of their story in the Unit Nemesis series. And frankly, look, that was the one. I paid full price. I listened to it, and I didn't finish the box set. And I'm finding that more and more frequent nowadays. I'm trying to force myself to get through the Masters Nemesis Express. It just not really hooking me in right now. And when you have a story that's good, you see straight away. You're like, well, Kaleidoscope, for example. Excellent. The Third Doctor story. There's a lot of things they do, which is when they're good, they're really, really good, right? This one isn't really one of them. First, let's talk about was it Christopher Naylor's Harry Sullivan. I think it's absolutely fine, right? I think it's absolutely fine. You can tell it's not in Martner, but it's as good, I would say, as Tim Treadlaw's Third Doctor, or who was it? Michael Trouser's doing the Second Doctor now, or Steve Newman's First Doctor, David Bradley's First Doctor. It's as good as any of those, and I think it's a fine performance that understands what's going on. The stories are written by, who is it? There's let's have a look. John Dorney, who's always reliable, and Lisa McMullen, slightly less so, right? But still, a solid writer, right? John Dorney is always reliable. It's a kind of a sword and sorcery meets present day sort of thing. So, hate to tell you, I've seen it before with Battlefield. There was a very good, what was it? Shadows of Avalon was a Paul McGann 8th Doctor book. So I've really seen this sort of thing before. So the premise is a little bit dull. It's okay, but the story wasn't carrying me away. But the thing that was really the problem, the thing that stopped me listening was, and I mean absolutely no disrespect to the actress, was Eleanor Crooks's performance as Cross. Right? It didn't convince me. Right? It felt like. It felt like the role was more than she could cope with. It felt like it was beyond her abilities. And again, I mean no disrespect whatsoever. I'm telling you my honest opinion, right? I just don't think it didn't really sell it to me. So why? Why didn't it sell it to me? And I think it's like this. And it's there's been a big push, and I know from people on the inside of Big Finish, there's a big push to have more diversity, I think, is the expression. But the way we express more diversity in 2022 is by disproportionately putting black people in productions, right? And it just seems a bit like tokenism to me. But the issue is when you reduce your hiring pool, right, and you do not reduce your output, the only result is going to be a dropping of quality, right? So there's just not enough actors to go around and fill the demand for all these like major roles. I don't know what the demographics of like 12%, something like that, of people in the Western world, in England, is black. I think something like that, right? And I'm not up for black erasure, like, oh, no. And I'm not even saying this is diversity casting, right? I think that's somewhat of a mean... I think it's true, and a lot of times, but I think that's somewhat of a mean criticism. What's really going on is there are currents of social opinion, right? And one of the currents we've got going on now is that black people have been treated terribly in the Western world. I just don't think that narrative really, really pans out in terms of. I don't think they've been treated any worse than anybody else, right? I think we treat everybody terribly, right? And just pretending we look at one group and treat them terribly. But, that's a whole other discussion. The discussion here for this release is, could Eleanor Crooks deliver? And for my opinion, no. So I listened to an episode and a bit of the first story. And I didn't even bother going to the thing because I'm not buying it, right? I'm not buying it. I don't want to listen to it. And when I looked at the backstage, I think I understood a little bit. This idea of like there's just not enough actors to fill the demand for this demographic, right? It seemed that way as well. So this is the cover. It's a decent cover, and her character looks like a normal companion fare, right? This is something, she's black with white hair. It's interesting look. And again, this is I think the end of this story. I think we're going to get the beginning of the story next year, a year after, when they're with the fourth Doctor, who just kind of drops them off in present day Earth. They end up working for UNIT before... I guess the seventh Doctor's going to drop them back home, right in the 70s. But the idea of having this prominent black character in the 70s makes it a little bit less believable. They did something similar in a third Doctor box set release when they had a character that should have been Sergeant Benton be a nameless sergeant, so they could cast a woman playing it, right? And it just felt like it didn't work, right? It just felt it didn't work. So anyway, scroll down. If you look at you go backstage, and again, I mean no disrespect to the actress whatsoever, right? You can see her. She's at the back, on the left, and she towers over the rest of the cast, right? She's a very big person, and I'm not saying fat. She's just like big physical presence, right? If this was a TV production, she would not have been cast. She's just the wrong body type to be cast. And you can see the reality of that by looking on the cover, how they completely changed her body type to fit in with the our mental norm. Now, I understand this is audio, right? This is audio, it's not video. But I think that affects one's physical presence affects their performance, right? And it just... Look, I'm looking for reasons of why it didn't work. The bottom line for me is it didn't work. It cannot be a recommend. I wanted it to work, right? I really wanted it to work. I like the other problem is like the Seventh Doctor didn't show up to about halfway through, so I'm like stuck listening to Christopher Nail as Harry Sullivan. Again, I like him as Harry Sullivan, and Eleanor Crooks, and it was just a little bit grating for me. And the story was not enough to carry me through, right? So not a recommend for me, especially not for over $20, right? Not a recommend. And I'm very sorry it isn't. I really wish Big Finish only the best, and I think we all should support them. They've been fantastic. But again, I consider for me this is a void. I felt I should share this with you. And again, I really want to be really clear. I know I'm criticizing your performance, Eleanor, and I know that's not nice, and I know it feels bad. I understand that. I just got to be honest, right? I just don't think it was good enough, right? I just don't think it was good enough. But I wish you the best, right? I wish you the best. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.